Shabbat Shalom. I know that the hour is late, but I have a short message that I want to share with you, and we'll continue on with Musaf. On Yom Kippur, I spoke to you about tshuva, and I quoted Greta Thunberg, who had just addressed the UN Climate Action Summit. On Sukkot, I spoke to you about the effect of climate change, specifically in Eretz Israel, in the land of Israel. This morning, I want to continue the theme, and Chanukah really is the perfect time because while the Maccabees were not worried about their carbon footprint, the story is about stretching our oil to last longer to produce more light. We read in the Talmud not about the menorah, but about a regular, everyday oil lamp. Mar Zutra stated, one who covers an oil lamp, causing the flame to burn inefficiently, or uncovers a kerosene lamp, allowing the fuel to evaporate faster, violates the prohibition of Baal Tashchit. I'll explain that in a minute. Based on this teaching, the Ben Ish Chai, 19th century rabbi from Iraq, Yosef Chaim ben Eliyahu, he addressed the case in which a person inserted 2 wicks into an oil lamp used at night. Kind of picture a nightlight. So the person left both wicks in the lamp throughout the night, just in case that they would get up in the middle of the night and they wanted to see something. To prevent waste, the Ben Ish Chai instructed the man to extinguish one of the wicks, arguing that at night he would really only need 1 wick. Keeping the second wick lit, he said, violated the prohibition of Baal Tashchit, of wastefulness. It makes me think, in a way, that the miracle of the temple's menorah was more like the invention of smart technology, because perhaps the first menorah just burned inefficiently, and the Maccabees found a way to make it burn more efficiently and use less oil. It's kind of like my furnace. I recently had Miniasco come out, and they said that I should consider getting a more high-efficient furnace. In any case, if the Talmud teaches this principle in regard to basically a nightlight, how much more so would they say about our entire energy grid? The example of the Talmud refers to Baal Tashchit, which means wanton destruction. The prohibition is originally taught in relation to cutting down fruit trees, but it's extended to refer to any kind of wasteful destruction. The Rambam writes, not only fruit trees, anyone who destroys household goods, tears clothes, demolishes a building, ruins food deliberately, violates the prohibition of Baal Tashchit. Here we see it about wasting oil, about using more resources than are necessary. The prohibition of Baal Tashchit is the basis for many of the environmental Jewish laws. Millennia before our culture of single-use, disposable everything, Jewish laws taught us to guard our precious resources. Now, clearly, the rabbis, they didn't know about climate change, and not all Jewish laws are what we consider eco-friendly. Similarly, I do not believe that our Jewish communities are necessarily careful about Baal Tashchit. There's lots of wastefulness in the Jewish communities, including in our own Bethel. But this principle does remind us that there's never enough to waste, even if there's plenty right now. The medieval Spanish work, the Sefer HaChinuch, explains it this way. Mitzvah number 529, the prohibition of wanton destruction. The purpose of this commandment, the author writes, it's well known. This is the way of the pious, of people of proper action. They do not destroy even a grain of mustard in the world. They are distressed by all loss and destruction. And if they can prevent it, they will prevent any destruction with all of their strength. Not so the wicked. They are the brothers of destructive spirits. I'm struck by this picture painted by the Sefer HaChinuch. He says that a person of faith, that an observant religious person, is one who avoids being wasteful. A Jew is concerned about using our limited resources effectively. A Jew cares about the environment, sees it as their responsibility to address the critical issue of our time, climate change. But why exactly is wastefulness prohibited? Perhaps really it's just a question of practicality. For example, using extra olive oil to keep that lamp lit, it was expensive and it required unnecessary effort to make more oil. I think, though, there's more to it. Bethel's, in the main sanctuary, Ner Tamid. It quotes Psalm 24, saying, L'Adonai ha'aretzum loah. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. The earth belongs to God. It's not ours to destroy. In the words of 19th century German Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, only if you use the things around you for wise human purposes, only then will you have right over them. In other words, God is saying, you have no right to the world's resources unless you use them wisely. So how can we live more sustainably? You know the answers, and you know that the answers are many. Some see the solution in conservation, others in new technology. Of course, it can and must be both. Some solutions are simple and they actually save us money, like having an energy audit on our home and greening our homes. Others are complicated and they're hard because they challenge our lifestyles, like reducing our meat consumption or air travel. Some actions like turning off lights, they actually have very small impact. Others like voting into office a candidate who makes this a public policy priority that has a large impact. Whatever the mix of approaches, one thing we cannot accept is to say, what can I do about it? What can we humans do? The problem is too big. If we learn anything from Greta Thunberg, it's to believe that one person can make a difference. If we learn anything from the Maccabees, it is not to give up hope. If we learn anything from Jewish history, it is never to doubt that a small group of people has the power to change the world. This must be our Hanukkah gift to the world, the gift to believe, to hope, and to act. On Hanukkah, we celebrate the miracle of the conservation of oil, but we're taught ein somchim al hanes. We are not to rely on miracles. It's up to us to make our light eternal. It must be sustainable. Only then will we merit to truly be a light unto the nations. Shabbat shalom.